Hi everyone, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Yvonne Princess Shabango. If you are new here, you're welcome to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And voila, you're part of the graceful, the beautiful, and the wonderful family. You are welcome to another Employment Wednesday episode. And today we're talking about things to be mindful of or things to be aware of when searching for a job, right? Because half the time, we always think that actually searching for a job is all about finding the job and getting paid. That's it, right? So firstly, I'm going to start at it's always important to map out how you want your career to end. You can see me here thinking, oh, all she wants to be is become an attorney or a lawyer, and you find out that it's like completely the opposite, right? I've mapped out my career in a different way. So it's important to map up your career options, what you want and what you need to get there, right? So in as much as it's important to get a job and get the experience, but it's important to also not forget your value as a person, because it's really saddening that you can go to school, acquire the skill, master the skill, and still find yourself in a position where you're being underpaid, still find yourself in a position where you're employed by the wrong company. And sometimes it's because we have no choice, but sometimes we actually walk into problems, right? So today I'm going to help you out avoid walking into problems of your career, basically, right? So first things first, map out your career. Look at the things that you need to do to get there, right? The goal is to become, for me, the goal is to become an admitted attorney, right? Also master the difference between admitted and practicing. Admitted attorney, I wanted to be an admitted attorney. I understood that whatever happens, wherever I want to end, whether I want to go into academia, whether I want to go into banks, I understood that if I wanted to be an admitted attorney, I needed to do 2 years of articles. I needed to write my board exams, needed to do PLT, right? So I've mapped out, I want to be an admitted attorney. At some point, I want to go into what? Academia, right? So because I want to go into academia at some point, I did my master's during my articles. Smart move, right? So now almost done with my articles, left with a couple of days, and then now looking at it, the bare minimum requirement of becoming a lecturer is having a master's, having published some articles. Sometimes it's not really a requirement to have published articles, but it's going to be required as you go on. You must be able to do research and stuff like that, right? But as you go into the process of lecturing and all of that, the requirement becomes having your PhD. So I'm like, actually, since I want to go into academia at some point, as I hop into my other career endeavors, I can also enroll for my PhD, so that by the time I get to lecturing, I'm not worried about meeting the minimum requirements. I want to go into banks, so I want to do legal in-house, right? I'm like, you know what? Let me start somewhere. Now that I've finished doing my articles, let me start applying in insurance companies and banks and corporate companies and all of that, right? So that even when I get the job, I get to get the experience and move away, right? Also, it's very important that you time yourself, but don't be limited by timing, right? So as you know, we can plan all we want, we can have a vision board and all of that, but it takes work, it takes God's timing and prayer, right? But have certain figures in mind. I did a video where I was saying we're in partnership with God to make our lives full and in abundance, right? So because you're in partnership with God, you are allowed to come and propose to say, God, I'd like to do ABCD with your approval, with your assistance. Please assist me, right? So time yourself, map out the things. And sometimes timing yourself is not even about you. Just figure out how long articles are supposed to be done. They're supposed to be done for 2 years. Make sure that you do them in 2 years. Board exams, how long are they supposed to be done? Within your 2 years. Make sure you do 111, 222, 3-1, or whatever the case may be. But time yourself so that you don't find yourself slacking. And I believe that timelines actually push you to work harder, or works, actually not harder, work smarter, because if you have timelines, you understand that you don't have time to waste. Because also another thing, if you miss your timelines, God will keep on calling you back to the same place, So have timelines, map out your career, right? Now that you have timelines, you've mapped out your career, then start sending out your applications to the relevant places. Yes, you can send out your applications outside to where you want to work, maybe because you want some financial support, whatever the case may be. But whatever you do, figure out what you want and how to get there. Will Smith says two of the biggest world problems is one, not knowing what you want, two, knowing what you want but not being able to get there. So now that you know what you want, start applying there, start attending workshops they may have there, start connecting with people that work there. The beauty of it all is that we've got LinkedIn, we've got Instagram, we've got social media platforms that allow us to be in conversations with our prospective employers or prospective employees. So now that you've mapped it all out, you've set out timelines, guys, and you're in a position of opportunity, right? Let's say opportunity finds you, a job opportunity finds you. Guys, I need you guys to be mindful that every role has a budget, right? So before you go into that negotiation room, make sure, one, you know the market related salary. If market related says 500,000 Rand per annum, stick with that or elevate depending on your qualifications. I know for a fact, because I have a master's in banking law, I will not let anyone pay me under 10K because I have ENQ9, So yes, so know the market relatedness and then know what you can do and what you can't. If you don't have anything special to your skills and your abilities and all of that, stick to minimum, which is a 500K if that's the minimum, right? But if you have a certain expertise, you bring in some innovation, you bring in something beyond what an average candidate can bring to the company, elevate that per annum to 700,000 Rand. You know what you need, you know what you can bring to the table. And don't be afraid, guys. There's this thing that I've been doing. Don't be afraid to talk about money. Don't be afraid to mention figures, because we are always so afraid, especially young professionals. We are always so afraid to actually we're always so afraid to say what we genuinely want, because we're afraid they're going to be like, oh no, I'm a junior. If you're a junior with knowledge, you're a junior that has something to offer, say what you want, and the worst that could happen is them saying no. And every role has a budget, guys. I've noticed that they have this thing of asking you, what are your salary expectations? That's why it's important to go and research market related, so that if they think they can rob you, they're not going to rob you. You're actually going to give them their budget that they had put up there. It's unfortunate if the budget was higher than market related, but yeah, always know your market related, and don't be afraid to mention figures and know the differences, your cost to company, your gross, your net. Do not be fooled to be like, oh my God, I just want 50K gross. And then at the end of the day, your net is landing on 20,000 Rand and you don't know the benefits that the company has to offer. So it's always important to do your research. So you map out your career, you set timelines, you do your research properly and efficiently, so that even when you negotiate, you know what you're talking about. You're not speaking on hearsay or anything like that. You're speaking on facts, right? And guys, it's always important to ask relevant questions. Your prospects of growth, prospects of promotion. How long does it take to be promoted in the company? When you grow, are there any leadership opportunities? And also, that's if you're interested in those things. It's always important to look at yourself as the person that you are. There's a sermon that I was watching by Pastor Michael Todd, where he says money follows mastery. So it's always important also to master something. Just be great at something so that you're valuable to the company, right? And sometimes when you don't get the opportunities of where you would like to be, spend the time actually mastering something. Spend your time mastering communication skills. Spend your time mastering your research skills. Spend your time mastering Microsoft, Word, Excel, and all of those things. But master, because once you master something, you actually become more valuable and money comes. Because if I say I've mastered Microsoft Word and I can do better than any other employee in the workplace, and I demand an increase of 10,000 Rand, it's justifiable, because it's like you've got something to show for it. But if you don't have anything to show for it, it becomes really tricky. And then another thing, guys, I've noticed that yes, some people still enroll for academic degrees. I'm still going to have a chat with a guest over, right? But some people still enroll with for academic degrees, guys. It's very, very, very important that you're able to distinguish between professional degrees and academic degrees, right? To the young ones that are still coming up, that are still going to go to school and still find jobs, or any other person who's looking into going back to school, I'd say wait a bit with academic degrees. Academic degrees would be like linguistics, or yeah, the likes of linguistics, the likes of theology, and all of these things. These are things that you study for knowledge. They like you can't be, I don't know, I've never heard of a theologist being paid to be a theologist. I've never heard of that. Linguistics, you learn languages and all of that. Yes, it can monetize at a later stage, but you can't be a professional linguist. I don't know if that exists, right? But yeah, the whole gist of it all is being able to go into, before you start studying for if you have interest in academical degrees, start off with professional degrees, the likes of teaching, the likes of law, the likes of accounting, the likes of medicine, the likes of hospitality, degrees, IT, degrees that actually allow you to be employable, that actually allow you to be able to get a job or to be an employer. Sometimes it's not just all about getting a job, but degrees that actually allow you to be an employer. It doesn't even have to be a degree. Sometimes courses, just do courses that are also practical, that allow you to be employable or be an employer, or that allow you to start something up. So yeah, I think that's very, 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 very important. And then that's just about it, guys. I think these are some of the things. It's a long list, but I thought let me just do this short video, something very light. It's important. Number one, it's important to map out your career, where you want to be and how you want to get there. Number two, it's important to have timelines. Time yourself, right? Not to say put yourself under pressure, but time yourself realistically. Like for instance, I can't say I want to finish a 4-year degree in 3 years. Realistically, LLB is in 4 years. Finish in your 4 years. Masters 2 years, 3 years, finish in your 3 years. But just time yourself. Then thirdly, do your research. Know your salaries, guys. Know how much you're supposed to be getting paid as a junior, because you find that companies actually exploit juniors. Companies actually don't pay juniors enough, in the name of we are offering you experience. Actually, I'm also offering my knowledge, the little 2 cents that I have. So it's important that you know your salaries, how much a person in the same area, in your same position, gets paid, so that when you negotiate your salary, you are able to get what's fair and good enough for you. Guys, I promise you, the thing is, I can't even name drop, but I know people that have negotiated their salaries beyond what the company was offering the rest of the people, so it's important to be able to negotiate. And you're able to negotiate if you've got skill, you've got value, and also if you know what you're supposed to be getting paid. And then lastly, guys, as opposed to opting for academic degrees at first, don't opt for them firstly, because one, you will incur 4 years of debt, because half the time, especially with us Black people, we don't have enough money to go to school. Then you find that you go to school 4 years, you study linguistics. I'm not shaming it or anything like that. You study linguistics, and then by the end of the 4 years, you owe about over 100K, but you can't be employable, or you don't have any practical skills. Then it becomes problematic. But at least if you start off with a professional teaching degree, even if you're in debt, you're sort of guaranteed of getting a job quicker than you would have gotten a job compared to a person that just studied linguistics. So weigh your options. I get to, guys. Anyway, thank you very much for coming to Employment Wednesdays. Do not forget to pray for one another. I'm praying for you. I pray that you land in the best company for you. I pray that you are in the best environment in terms of health, mental health, development, and all of these things. I pray that God places you at the right place for you and that particular company, because it's a two-way street. And I pray that you get the salary that you deserve, a salary that's enough for you to change your family structure, to change your generations, that come after you and generations before you, and all of that. I pray that God blesses you beyond measure, and I pray that you receive that interview call or that email that says congratulations if you've been waiting on it. And do not forget to be loved and light. God bless you. I'm praying for you.